Welcome back to Up North Kitchen. Today I will be making a carrot cake cheesecake for Easter. And Easter is on April 4th this year, so this will give you plenty of time to try out the recipe, see if you like it, and then make it for your family for Easter dinner. So let's jump into it. Okay, so for our carrot cake, we will need 3 medium to large size carrots shredded, and then this is 1.5 cups of sugar, 2 cups of flour, 3 eggs. In this little dish here I have 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, a teaspoon of baking soda, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Then in here I have 1 cup of canola oil, or you can use vegetable oil, and I have 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So what you're going to do is mix your dry ingredients here, the cinnamon, baking soda, and salt, with your flour. So dry ingredients with the flour, and I'm just going to whisk those together here. And you want to do this part before adding them into the sugar and the rest of the wet ingredients, so you know that all of the baking soda got combined evenly, the cinnamon and the salt got mixed in very well as well. Otherwise you'll just have a clump of baking soda in your cake and it doesn't taste very good and doesn't rise very good. And before you go any further, preheat your oven to 350. Alright, and we are also going to prep our 9-inch Springform pan, and I'm going to spray that with some cooking spray because you don't want your cake part to stick. So you kind of want to get the edges of the pan near the bottom and the bottom of the pan. And then set that aside, and now we will continue on making our cake. Okay, so into the sugar you're going to add your vegetable oil or canola oil and your vanilla extract. And then you're also going to add in your 3 eggs. And we'll whisk that up. I like to break up my yolks when I'm mixing, and then I can really go at it. And you just want to mix this until it's all combined. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to add in my dry ingredients, and we'll mix all of that together now. And it's going to be kind of thick, don't worry, everything will work out all right. Just kind of take it easy, don't want to make a mess. At least I don't like making messes and then having to clean them up. Okay, so at this point I like to take my whisk out and kind of bang off the extra batter. Here I am making a mess. Okay. Now you're going to want to grab a rubber spatula and just continue to fold in the rest of the dry ingredients. And then at this point we're going to also fold in all of our carrots here. So this was 3 medium to large sized carrots that I shredded. And these add a little bit more moisture to the batter, which makes it easier to mix. So just fold those all in until they're mixed in. Alright, this looks good. Yep, there. Alright, so now I'm going to pour half of this batter into my Springform pan here. And you can save the other half to bake for a later day, or you can put it in an 8x8 square pan and bake it today, and you'll just have carrot cake for a snack. But half of it goes in the pan here, roughly half. Spread it around so it's flat. I don't think I put in half of the batter here, so I'm just going to add a little bit more because it will rise up a little bit with that baking soda in there and the eggs. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to put this in my preheated oven that was at 350 degrees, and I'm going to let this bake for 10 minutes. It's going to bake around the edges here, but it'll still be raw in the middle part, but that's fine because we'll have to bake the cheesecake on top of it. So into the oven it goes for 10 minutes. Remember to set a timer. I am notorious for forgetting to set a timer, and I usually end up remembering just at the right time that I was making something in the oven, so don't forget to set a timer. Alright, so we are going to be making the cheesecake part of our carrot cake cheesecake now. So here I have 4 8-ounce packages of cream cheese that I've just softened in the microwave. I did 1 minute stir, 1 minute stir. I also had them sitting out for probably an hour or so before I did that, so they are nice and soft now. Here I have 4 eggs with 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and then I have 1 cup of sugar here. So you can use a hand mixer to do this. I'm going to use the KitchenAid. So I'm just going to put my cream cheese into the metal mixing bowl of the KitchenAid. Plop. And then I'm going to beat this with the sugar until it's all uniform. We have 2 cats, so I find cat hair on everything, especially this time of year. It's the spring and they're shedding. So I'm going to move this over here. Attach my bowl into the mixer, and now I'm going to just mix it up. And I like to mix up the cream cheese by itself first before I add the sugar. That way I know that this is nice and soft and has broken down. Okay, that looks good. I'm just going to scrape down the sides of the bowl. And I'm going to add in my 1 cup of sugar. I've also added just a pinch of salt into my sugar here, just to really bring out the flavors of the cream cheese, and when it's with the carrot cake it'll really pop. So, just going to mix that until the sugar's all combined. Alright, that looks good. Again, scrape down your bowl, just so everything's getting mixed in. Okay, and then I like to get whatever I can off the spatula. Alright, so I'm going to be putting the mixer on low speed, and I'll be adding 1 egg at a time until they're all mixed in. So, here we go. This part takes a little bit just because you have to wait for the egg to fully be mixed in, or you can see a little bit of the yolk ribbons in there, then I add the next egg. And that is the timer for our carrot cake crust. Last egg. Okay. Again, I'm going to scrape down one more time. So make sure you scrape the bottom of the bowl too, in case you didn't get anything that was stuck on the edges down there. Whoa, I'm gonna fling it at myself. Okay, so now you just want to give it one final stir to make sure everything you scraped down gets combined. Okay, beautiful. I'm gonna take off my paddle here, move the bowl. I'll get this out of the way quick. Okay, then you just want to scrape everything you can off of the paddle or your beaters. You can also just tap your beater on the side of the bowl if you want to. It's exceptionally loud, so I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, that looks good. Now I'll just set this aside and I'll grab our carrot cake base. Okay, so as you can see, there is a ring of baked cake around the edge of the pan, and it's still raw in the middle. So when I pour this in, it'll kind of ooze up and create kind of a wave of carrot cake on the bottom of the pan. But now I'm going to be turning my oven down to 250, and you want to bake your cheesecakes low and slow. So if you can turn your oven down to 200 degrees, that's even better. Mine only goes as low as 250. So this will have to bake for about an hour to 2 hours. And I'll show you guys when I check up on cheesecake how it's looking and what you're looking for. So in the meantime, I'm just going to be pouring my cheesecake here into the carrot cake. And I use my spatula to help with pouring the cheesecake so the carrot cake doesn't just like ooze all over the place, and then there's just a thin layer of carrot cake in the center and thick around the edges. But once I get a good layer of cream cheese in there, I just go to town. And this is going to be right up to the edge of the pan. But don't worry, it won't overflow when it's baking. So just get the rest of that in there. And I'll smooth it out a little bit. Alright, and now we're ready to go back in the oven. And again, you want to bake your cheesecake low and slow. So I'm baking mine at 250 degrees. If you can bake it at 200, that's even better. Alright, back in the oven. And don't forget to set a timer. Start with an hour, check on it. If you need more time, add more time. So we'll be back in an hour. Okay, so our cheesecake has been cooking for about an hour now. Here is what it looks like. It's still pretty jiggly here. So I'm going to be putting it back in the oven for probably a half an hour, and we'll check it again then. So the cheesecake is done now. I would say it's been about 2 hours since I put it in the oven. here is what it looks like. It's just got a little bit of wiggle to it when I shake it, and that's perfect. So now it's just going to rest here for about an hour, and then we will put it in the freezer to get it cooling down right away. And while that is cooling down, we will make some candied pecans. So we are going to be making some candied pecans now. So in this bowl I have 4 ounces of chopped pecans, and I have 1 cup of sugar with 1 tablespoon of cinnamon here. And then this is 1 egg white with just a splash of water. So we're going to whisk the egg white until it becomes frothy, and then we're going to coat our pecans with it. So just a moment while I do that. Okay, so our egg whites are nice and frothy. Nice and frothy. And we're just going to pour these over our pecans. And then mix those up, get them nice and coated. And then we are going to be adding the cinnamon sugar, and you want to get a nice coating of cinnamon sugar on the pecans. Pecans, however you want to say it. And I started with about half of the sugar I made. Okay, that looks pretty good. Maybe just a little bit more. So that was probably 3/4 of the sugar I made. So now I'm going to put those on a sheet tray here that I have with parchment paper. And then spread those out. Okay. And now we are going to put those in an oven that's preheated at 400 degrees. Do not walk away from it. This is something you are going to want to watch. So here's our pan of candied pecans. We are going to put these in the oven now. The oven's preheated to 400 degrees, and this is something you are going to want to watch so they don't burn. And another thing is, do not touch the pecans after they come out of the oven, otherwise you will burn yourself. So I'm going to put these in the oven for about 5 minutes, and then I'll check on them, give them a stir and a flip, and we'll see how they're going. So it's been about 10 minutes. I forgot to set a timer. And so here is what the pecans look like, and I'm gonna give them a stir and then put them in for another 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, here are the pecans out of the oven. Do not touch these. They are very hot and you will get burned so bad that you will have to go to the hospital, so do not touch. We are just going to let those cool down now, and while those are cooling, we are going to throw our cheesecake in the freezer. And most recipes say that you have to let that set up for 3 to 4 hours or overnight, so we will be back with a taste test once everything has set up. And I'll also show you how I will be presenting it. So we'll see you in a little bit. Alright, so we're going to remove the cheesecake from the pan now. And because we used cooking spray, it should pop out easily. If not, just use a butter knife to go around the edge. So here it is. That's the pretty side. And I'll cut a piece off and decorate it for you. So here is the finished product. I did a little bit of a caramel sauce over the top. You can use store-bought or you can make your own. And then I have the candied pecans on here, and it's really cool how the carrot cake part kind of went up on the sides there. You can see it better on this side. Alright, I'll give it a taste for you. Get a candied pecan on there. It's delicious. The pecans add a nice little crunch to the carrot cake and the cheesecake. And the creaminess and the spiciness of the carrot cake go hand in hand. The carrot cake isn't that spicy, but the cinnamon complements it. Alright, so the recipe will be down below, and check out our social medias, and I hope you give this a try for Easter.